Ms. Keisha, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the North Little Rock Planning Commission to order, please. Would you please call the roll?
Banks, Blasco, Chambers,
Present.
Dietz, Foster, Phillips,
Here.
Wallace,
Here.
White, Chairman Clifton.
Here. Thank you, and I would like to welcome our newest member, Mr. Edward Wallace. He is our newest member of the North Little Rock Planning Commission. He was appointed and sworn in after our fellow commissioner, Miss Jackie Alexander, had to resign and has since gone on to meet her reward. So we welcome you, Edward, and glad you're here with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sir. Let me remind you to please turn your cell phones off. The Planning Commission procedures are on the back of an agenda if you'd like to pick one up. And if you come, we will ask you to state your name and please speak into the microphone. Our next order of business we'll move into is administrative. Mr. Spencer?
We've paper mailed and emailed everybody the financial statements, so get those to Keisha and she'll notarize them if she's got to do that in person, or if you've got someone at your office or something to get it notarized. But we need to get those turned in by January 31st. So if you bring them into the office, we'll get them notarized for you. You should have something in front of you, and I think we emailed it also to you about Planning Commission training. So if you're wanting to attend that, it's local, I think. Was it Conway? It's nearby, so.
No, it's the Little Rock
Oh, it's
Library.
Little Rock, yeah, the Cows.
Yeah, Cal's, main library.
So it's at Cows.
Very local.
So if you're wanting to do that, get with us. That's usually limited space based on the room, but at Cows, I think the room can get bigger, so it may not be as much pressure to do that. But we'll pay the $95 to get you to the thing. We just need to know ahead of time. So next couple weeks, if you get, in fact, like at the end of the month, we'll turn everybody's in at that time. So I think we've got 2 people already said yes to it. So just if you're wanting to go, get with us on that. Just an update on the agenda here. Item 2 has been amended to go to C3 instead of C4, and they have dropped the conditional use part of it. So right now, the request is just a straight rezoning to C3 for that corner property, and the other property is going to stay at C3. And item 4 is postponed to the February meeting, and that would be all the updates.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Spencer, and I would encourage all the commissioners to attend this Advanced Training Topics 301 over in Little Rock. Usually they are out of town somewhere, and sometimes they're hard to get to, but I would encourage each commissioner to attend those. They are very informative. You have been submitted a copy of the meetings, or a copy of the minutes from our previous meetings. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
Move for approval.
Motion made and seconded, they be approved as submitted. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We'll move right into our Development Review Committee report. Mr. Don Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Development Review Committee met and considered item SD 2018-1 Indian Hills Addition Lot 1A Block 100, a site plan review of Andy's Frozen Custard located at 6907 JFK Boulevard. The applicant was present and agreed to items 1 through 10 and subsections, and with that, the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Second. Motion made and seconded that this application be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? Yes, sir.
My name is Justin McGee, and McGee Engineering. Did the site plan. I'm just here if you guys have any questions. I think we resolved everything in the Technical Review Committee, but if you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask.
Okay. At the Design Review Committee meeting, have you been able to look at the recommendations from the Design Review Committee meeting?
Yes, sir.
And you approved of all those?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other comments from the commissioners? All in favor of the application as submitted, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Item B is SD 2018-2, The Ridge at North Little Rock, Lot B, site plan review of Phase 3 of a multifamily development located at 700 West Scenic Drive. The applicant was present and agreed to items 1 through 11 and subsections, and with that, Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that this application be approved as submitted. And your name is?
My name is Travis Tolley. I'm with Craft and Toll Engineering Firm, and I'm here on behalf of the client.
You have been submitted a copy of the review of the Design Review Committee,
Yes, sir.
and you do agree with all these?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any comments from anyone in the audience on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
That concludes the report of the Development Review Committee, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. We'll move right into our public hearing. Item number 1 is a special use case to allow 4 vending machines and a parking lot in an R4 zone located at 4905, 09, 5009, and 5101 Walnut Road. Please come up. Give us your name, please.
My name is Johan Adana Harat.
Okay. This was postponed from last meeting,
Yes, sir.
and with a recommendation that you might visit with your neighbors.
Yes.
Have you, has that been accomplished, and do you have a different report?
I did visit with them, and it appears that everything was reassured with them that I was going to take care of the place and fix everything up brand new. I think they was just a little concerned because of the previous owners. And so, of course, when I took it over, they was a little unsure about what my plans were. And so I think, of course, my actions speak louder than my words, you know, about the improvements that we've made on the property. And so I just reassured them that everything was going to be fine, that I would keep a lookout after the machines, keep a lookout after the apartment complex, cut out any riffraff, if any. So I'm just there to take care of my business. So.
Mr. Spencer, have you had any comment with any of the neighbors regarding this?
No one's talked to us since the first meeting.
Okay, Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I went and looked at this, and I have lots of concerns, but I also have a solution, okay?
Okay.
My main concern is item 7 on our rezoning, which is that the improvement is built across 2 property lines, okay? These are separate lots, and you can sell them at will. I mean, there's nothing that stops that. And this causes a problem in that, am I referring to the right one, Sean, that it crosses the property line and causes a problem?
Correct. It doesn't necessarily cause a problem.
5, is it number 5? Okay.
It's a special use, so that's part of the special use. You're proving it crossing property lines.
Okay,
So
well,
you're
I didn't want
part
to
of
set
it.
a precedent, okay? That's what I'm trying to avoid. And so my suggestion is that if you were to file a plat showing those vending machines on a common use area between the 2 lots, that would mean that if you sold one of them that had this property on it, it would have the right to use the other side of the building, okay?
Okay.
So you see what I'm saying? You're just
Right.
simply granting a permission between the 2 lots that they can both use the property.
Okay.
And it's a minor filing. I'm sure your surveyor can do it for you, no big deal. So
Okay.
it's not an expensive
Sure.
solution, but it does get us out of the problem of granting a building on splitting a property line, okay?
Okay.
I'm much more distraught over something being built without a building permit, all this kind of stuff, but I'm going to let that go
Okay.
if we can do the common use area easement. And
Okay.
that way, I think it'll solve the problem.
Sure.
That's just my suggestion. I think if there are there any conditions, Sean?
I think if Ms. Blasco's here, she'd agree with you on, as she works at a title place, that you're going to go file an access agreement between 2 properties as a written document, so it won't be a plat.
Okay.
But it would just be a document that
Okay.
your attorney or surveyor would write, and you go file it. So the city's not really involved, but we want a copy of it to put in the file.
Absolutely.
But it's just a sheet of paper that says that this property has the right to use it on that property, and vice
Absolutely.
versa. So-
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I think it fits in with your goals.
Yes.
I'd like to add that, Sean, as a condition to be considered, I guess, item 7, and make item 7 item 8.
Yeah, we'll word it properly, but it'll be something about recording a written document, access easement.
Okay.
Mr. Foster?
Sean, let me ask you a question. It seems like in the past, when this question has come up and the concerns have come up about this being setting a precedent, you know, with our actions to do that, but I always with the understanding, and our actions here have been, I thought that since we're classifying this as being filed under a special use, then that's really not setting a precedent. Am I incorrect in our past procedures?
It just matters the way you look at it and who's looking at it. So we would like not to set a precedent of allowing a building over a property line, and we have yet to ever do that.
We've never done that.
We've never done that. But by filing this document, it's an access easement that grants access to both properties of this structure. So it's the best compromise to come up with that. So it's not, but we have never allowed a building over a property line for this situation of one property sells, then what do you do with half a building?
Yeah.
Well, I understand what Mr. Foster is saying and what you're saying, Sean, and I understand the whole point of everything, but we're talking about building a building, a dwelling,
Yeah.
I think. It's what the intent of that is over a property line, not an open-ended sided shed.
Right. But the shed would have setbacks. So no matter what you're building, there's always a setback from the property line. So even this, so instead of an 8-foot setback for a building, it's a 5-foot setback. So there's still, but we can clear it up with an access easement. I'm fine with that.
If he's willing to do the easement, well, that does take care of everything.
You okay with that?
I'm totally fine with that.
I'm trying to
Chambers?
help you out, but if you're willing to do it, keep on going.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, my question is to Ms. Miller. If you were in court and the opposing attorney brought up an exception to a rule that we had granted, couldn't that attorney use that as a wedge to fight the city against a more significant issue, that we definitely don't want this, but because we've done that in the past? That's the precedent I'm avoiding setting. This may be minor, it's just a shed, but that can be used as a wedge issue. But we found a way around it with the easement. But
Obviously, precedents do carry weight within, when you are in court, and that does not necessarily mean that the court would be persuaded, but it would be an argument that could be made that if we've done this in the past, then what is the reason for the commission not being willing to do it in this particular case? Or in any other case. And obviously, if the commission can articulate the reason that would make this an exception that the court would be able to agree with, then we'd be okay. But clearly, that's evidence, but it is not conclusive evidence.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Foster?
Let me take this one step further. You know, we're asking them.
Microphone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, we're take this a step further. We're saying we're giving this exemption here, but that's an exception too, you know? So why couldn't you, if I came for you and you say, no, you can't do that, because you know, we've never done that before, and then I could say, well, you gave this guy, you know, what are we calling this, an easement, give me an easement to do it. And then you say, no, we don't want to do that. Well, you're setting a precedent by giving him an easement to give me an easement. So I don't think we're accomplishing anything by requiring him to do this. I mean, I'm willing to stand up and say, hey, it's a special use. We acted on this as a case-by-case basis. Let's move on. But I mean, if y'all want to give him ask him to
I think
spend his money to do this, you know, I'm good with that if he's good with it. I just think that's kind of, we're not helping ourselves. We're not accomplishing what you think we're accomplishing here, by requiring him to do that.
It's up to you guys to decide what you want to do. So it's either way,
Hey,
it's
there is
acceptable.
clearly not a motion here on the floor. What's on the floor here before us today is what we're looking at. Mr. Chambers has is making a motion to add a number 8 to it,
Yes,
I'm supposing, so,
which would be basically a letter of easement of some nature described by staff that would basically be the stated reason that you're saying for the exception, okay? So sure, Mr. Foster, if you came in and said, I want to do this, you let him do it with an easement, I would say certainly, give me an easement, and you can do it too, because that's the exception we're making. That's the criteria we're basing it on. It's just a logic path. You just can't go willy-nilly and build things across property lines and not do this. So it preserves our requirement that nothing be built across the property line, that setbacks be respected. And so I move that we add item 8, the requirement of a letter of easement for the buildings that are crossing the property lines.
do I hear a second? Motion fails for lack of a second.
So be it.
Mr. White, you had something?
I mean, we're trying to add a rule that's not gonna be enforced anyway. As far as this easement, if I wanna go get a Coke out of your Coke machine, you're not gonna permit me from getting a Coke.
Absolutely not.
So, I think it's time to vote.
Okay, any other comments from anyone in the audience on this application? Any comments from the commissioners on this application? We're voting on the application as submitted with the staff recommendations included, correct? Yes. Please call the roll.
Chambers.
No.
Dietz. Yes. Foster. Yes. Phillips.
Yes.
Wallace.
No.
White.
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes. Your application did pass. If you'll get with Mr. Spencer, he can tell you what your next step would be.
Okay, right now or after the meeting?
Tomorrow, you can call him tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Okay, moving to item number 2, an amended rezone case number 2017-18 to rezone property located at 7509 Young Road from R4 to C3, and to amend the land use plan to allow for commercial development. It has been amended, Mr. Spencer, from what?
What they're asking for now is to rezone the property located at 7509 Young Road from R4 to C3 and amend the land use plan to allow commercial development. So if you look at the earlier handout, we're just rezoning the corner square that is R4 to C3 to match the rest of the commercial in the area.
Okay.
So the previous request was C4, and so they've, based on the discussions before, and we've gotten phone calls and support, the city supports going to C3, and we haven't heard anything from, I don't know if anybody's here, I can't speak for them, but we haven't gotten any calls against the C3 zoning request.
Okay, Mr. White?
Well, since we beat this to death the other day, and now we have what we want, I call question.
Absolutely.
Okay, question been called on the application. Call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application did pass. If you'll see Mr. Spencer, he can tell you what your next step would be.
All right, thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Item number 3 has been withdrawn, and item number 4 has been postponed. So we'll move to item number 5, rezone case number 2018-2, to rezone from R2 to C3 and to amend the land use plan from single-family to duplex to allow for a duplex.
R3.
R2 to R3.
R2 to R3, excuse me. Is the applicant, yes,
Yes, I'm Mike Marler. I represent Levy Church of Christ.
okay?
I have a bad cold, so my voice is not as usual.
Stay away from me.
This is the Levy Church of Christ at, what is the address?
5124.
4 Martin Street.
Yep.
Pardon?
4 Martin Drive is the address of the request.
Okay, anyone in the audience want to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners on this application? All in favor? Please call the roll.
Yeah.
Chambers.
Yes.
Dietz. Foster. Phillips.
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes, the application did pass. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you where to go next. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our general meeting. Our next item on the agenda is a public comment. Mr. White?
Hey, and I apologize, I didn't write down the address, but it's between Camp Robinson, and it's by the railroad track. It's that little sliver, piece of land where there's a mini storage unit that we allowed to be a mini storage years ago. It's on the railroad down in Levy. Y'all remember that one? The old one? Behind like the North Rock Honda place. The Honda place, the Honda repair.
I mean, we can find it. I mean, what's the,
Did we approve outside storage there?
how long ago was it?
It was probably, I would say, 3 or 4 years ago that we approved for them because it was the only thing that would go in there, but it looks like a junkyard now. Right against the railroad tracks. It's just a little sliver of land, nothing else could go in there, basically.
Yeah, we'll have to check, but we had that option then, so we either did or did not, so.
Yeah, I wish
it'd
we'd look
be-
into it because it's pretty, it's awful. I mean, it's the junk cars, it's not stuff that I don't know why you'd store it and not just take it to a junkyard.
So it's behind the Honda place?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's, yeah.
I think we're.
And I'm sorry I didn't get it. It's like Martin or something like that.
Belongs to Butch Penny, I think.
Yeah, yes,
yeah,
yep,
yeah.
I know which one we're
You
talking
know,
about.
I apologize. I wrote down it and then I couldn't find it. But anyway.
You are correct that we did not approve outdoor storage when it was
Yeah.
considered 15, 20 years ago. Long time ago, it was
Yeah. But we'll check into it.
long time ago.
It's a junkyard now.
Yeah.
It looks awful.
Well, and
We're
either,
building a new overpass and everything.
so we'll go out and either us or code will go out and take a look at it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? On the motion? Motion made and seconded. We adjourn. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.